Now the next story that Sean is going to tell is called The Flea Story.
Ladies and gentlemen, could I have your attention for about 8 or 9 minutes? I'm going to tell a story about fleas, or fleas as some people call them. St. Patrick came in the 5th century to Ireland. He vanished the snakes, but he failed to vanish the fleas out of Ireland. And in 1014, Bruree, he vanished the Danes out of Ireland, and he failed to vanish the fleas out of Ireland. Now fleas, they could cause a lot of trouble, especially in marriages. They did have problems with marriages. The wife would blame the husband for bringing the fleas into the bed, and the husband would blame the wife for bringing the fleas. So the marriage would break down. Now, there was this young man, he wasn't married too long, and he went to a car boot sale one day, and he came on a stallholder, and she was selling second-hand clothes. So he bought 2 second-hand long johns. And then he saw she was selling ladies' corsets, and they were the good brand Trill Fit. His wife was into designer clothes, so he bought 2 of those corsets, Trill Fit. He didn't pay a lot for his purchase. He brought them home, and he gave the 2 corsets to his wife. She was delighted with them, and she saw the good brand. She started wearing one of the corsets, and he started wearing one of the long johns. Everything went okay for a day and a night. But the second night they went to bed, they were simply ate with fleas. And they weren't Irish fleas. They were non-national fleas. They were foreign fleas. And they had a very severe bite, more severe than the Irish fleas. And they were able to transfer very quick with a blink of an eye. And it wasn't really known how they came into this country. It was thought they came in the back of an Arctic, like other things have come into this country in the back of Arctics. So at that time, the priest would visit a newly married couple to see how they were getting on. So this priest, he visited them this day, and I suppose he stayed the best part of an hour. He had tea, maybe sweet cake or biscuits, and of course he took the transfers. And when he was saying Mass the following Sunday in the local church, that time the Mass was said in Latin, and the priest had his back turned towards the people. And the congregation couldn't know what was after happening. The priest, he had his hands behind his back, and he was scratching his backside. They didn't know whether to teach he had or fleas for the cost of the fleas. And then the children, they were preparing for confirmation in the parish, and the priest was given a handout with the teacher preparing the children for the bishop. And of course the children got the transfers of the priest, and they were all scratching. And the day of the confirmation, all the children were scratching. And the bishop was very annoyed. He couldn't understand what type of parents they had to have the children in that state. But the next thing, the bishop was scratching. And the next thing, half the congregation was scratching. And the other half the congregation were looking on, they couldn't, in bewilderment, they couldn't know what was after happening. So, to make a long story short, the man that bought the long johns, he met a neighbour of his one day, and he was telling him about those fleas. So the neighbour said to him, there's one way of getting rid of those fleas, he said, and that is the shotgun. The smell of the gunpowder, and they'll vanish. Fire 1 shot under the bed and 1 shot over the bed, and that's the finish of the fleas. So your man borrowed a shotgun, and instead of firing 2 shots, he fired 10 or 12 shots around the room. And he blew the wallpaper off the wall, and he blew the bevel glass mirror over the wife's dressing table. He destroyed her designer clothes with pellets. And when she came home, she said to him, have you lost the run of yourself? And he started telling her about this neighbour, about this shotgun. And she said to him, you must still believe in Santa Claus if you're believing in that effing fool down the road. How could you shoot players with a shotgun? And at that she packed her bags and she left the home. She was gone 3 or 4 months, marriage was over as far as she was concerned. And next thing she filed for divorce. And 6 months had gone by and the case was about to come up in court. And her friends and his friends got together, and they got the 2 of them together. But she was very reluctant to go back to the marriage home. He had to put everything right, get rid of the bed, make sure the wallpaper is put back on the wall and put back her beveled glass on the dressing table. And at the 11th hour, that marriage was saved, just on the 11th hour. Now, that was one lucky marriage. There were other marriages and they weren't saved. Now, I don't think there's any problem with flails today. We have that DDT, but that did happen back in Ireland in those days. Flails did cause a lot of trouble. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Well, thanks, Sean. That was grand. Now, Sean is going to sing "SLEIVE Them On."
All alone by the wave was strand, all alone in the crowded hall. The hall it is gay and the waves they are grand, but my heart is not there at all. It flies far away by night and by day, to the times and the joys that are gone. For I never can forget the sweet maid that I met in the valley near SLEIVE Them On. It was not the grace of her queenly air, not her cheeks like the roses glow, not her soft black eyes, not her flowing hair, nor was it her lily white brow. It was the soul of truth and of melting root, and the smile like the summer's dawn that stole my heart away. One bright summer's day in the valley near SLEIVE Them On. In the festive hall by the star-watched shore, ever my restless spirit cries, oh my love, shall I ne'er see you more? And will my land ever uprise? By night and by day I ever cry, ever pray, while lonely my life flows on, to see our flag unrolled and my true love enrolled in the valley near SLEIVE Them On. All alone by the wave was strand, all alone in the crowded hall. The hall it is gay and the waves they are grand, but my heart is not there at all. It flies far away by night and by day, to the times and the joys that are gone. For I never can forget the sweet maid that I met in the valley near SLEIVE Them On. Thank you very much. Thank you.